reading from Radharas Suranidhi by Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur. We've been discussing about the Radhika Rupa Mahima, the glories of Radhika's transcendental form, and specifically at this juncture we're discussing several verses about the Radhika Kripa Kataksha Mahima, the glories of Radharani's sidelong glance. Kada Karishi Siyamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. So it's called the Kripa Kataksha Mahima. It's very glorious. And this is in one verse 188. And in this particular verse, the Saraswati Pad is describing that even the slightest glance from Radharani's eyes turns Krishna into a submissive plaything, like a toy animal, which is kind of amazing when you think about it. That Krishna becomes like a toy. As Prabhupada once said on one tape, he's saying that Krishna is like a doll. Krishna is like a doll dancing. Radharani makes Krishna dance like a doll. And I was saying this in one lecture in Vrindavan Temple, quoting Prabhupada. Because of her love, because of the supremacy of Radharani's love, she makes Krishna dance like a doll. And there's one Dadu there, the what's his name? Male Dadu? No, just call him Dadu. So he raised his hand and he asked a question. How can you say that? How can you say that Radharani turns Krishna into a dog? Because he's old and I said dog. I said doll, D-O-L-L, doll. Like a doll, like a pet doll. He said, oh, I thought you said Radharani turns Krishna into a dog. I said, he was like really angry. Where's this? I said, because he's like 80 years old, his ears not worked so well, So he's saying Krida Mriga. Krida means play, a toy animal or a play animal. It's text 188. Vayon milat keli vilasita katakshaika kalaya krito bhandi vrinda vipina kalabenro madakalaha jadi bhuta krida mriga iva yad agya lava krite kritina saradha stila yatu sadharanagatim. Saraswati Pad is praying, may that Sri Radha, who binds up the mad elephant of Krishna with even a fraction of her playfully opening sidelong glance, and who controls Krishna as if he were her toy animal, with even the slightest order, slacken our ordinary course of life. This is how they translate it. Sadharana gatim. So first, this of course is, you can say that it's Saraswati Pad in his Sadhaka Roop, but also he's, in one verse, in one moment he's in his Siddha Roop, or Siddha Swarup Avesh. Because he's seeing this, he must be seeing this, so to see that he must be in his Siddhadeya. He's seeing how Radharani glances from the corner of her eye and she binds the mad elephant of Krishna and he becomes like a toy animal and following her command, her Vasibhut. And it says here, Jadi Bhuta Krida Mriga. Whatever she asks Krishna to do, he does, he responds in a humble, submissive way. So he's seeing that in his Surupa Vesh. But then again he's coming with the Sadhaka Vesh. He loses that sporty and he comes down and he says, then he prays, will this Radharani, this wonderful, amazing, astonishing Radharani, may she slacken our course of life? Will she put an end to our traveling in this material world? So this is in the commentaries here is explaining, trying to give us understanding, because the word here is sadharana. I suppose I would think from my idea is that when we see the word sadharana, it also indicates something of different types of prema. There's the love of the gopis, which is called Samartha. Thank you, Samartha. And then there's the Samanjasa, the Braja gopis. Their art, their desirable object, Samartha, the goal of everything is Krishna. Their everything is Krishna. Samartha means my everything. Samyak, art. Art means use, value, object, wealth, goal, art, Samartha. Everything is Krishna. They don't know anything but Krishna. Everything is for Krishna, of Krishna, by Krishna. They exist for Krishna. They breathe for Krishna. They live for Krishna. They act, think, feel everything for Krishna. There's nothing of theirs. Everything is Krishna. Their heart belongs to Krishna. Their minds, their bodies, everything. They don't calculate anything for themselves or even think for a second about themselves. This is called Samartha Prem. And then Samanjasa, the Prem of the queens of Dwarka. There's some mixture there. There's some idea that I'm serving Krishna and trying to please Krishna with my body, like the gopis are offering their body intimately and in the most confidential way, expression. But they're also thinking that I will derive some pleasure from Krishna. There's something I will get from my side. So there's a small calculation, there's a small concern for myself, personal interest. So there's some art. There's some art there, some desirable object for me, personal art, dharmart kam moksha. But the gopis are not like that. Then the Kubja and Mathura, her love is sadharana. Sadharana means ordinary, plain, regular sadharana. That she just was touched by Krishna, then he's beautiful and handsome, and she felt lusty and wanted to enjoy him. And it's not so much, there's some devotion, but very ordinary type, almost like material love. But it's not material, because when she was feeling lusty, she wasn't lusty for anyone in this material world. So it's spiritual, it's sadharana, it's called sadharana prem. It's not calm, it's not material lust, because when her love was directed only to Krishna. She didn't have any love or attraction or sensual attraction for anyone of this world. So it's prem, but it's sadharana. It's very low because it was so much mixed with her own desires to enjoy. But it was towards Krishna. I want to enjoy intimately with this man, but he's Krishna. But it happens to be Krishna, God. And I don't want to enjoy anybody else but Krishna, but I want to enjoy. So it's ordinary. It looks very ordinary because everyone wants to enjoy in the material world. But it's ordinary, but it's extraordinary because it's prem and not calm. It's actually love, because it's directed towards and focused on and fixed on God, on Krishna. But she's also importing her own personal desires for enjoyment, but only to Krishna. She wants to enjoy, but God. So it's ordinary in the sense that there's lots of selfishness there. Me. So that's ordinary. Because the ordinary world that we live in, the sadharana or lokik bhav or this world, it's all selfishness. So she was selfish, but for God. So that made it prem, because it was kevala. It was only focused on Krishna. So now, because this word is there, sadharana, then the commentators are explaining. They're reminded of the Samanjasa Rati of the queens of Dwarka, which is measured against this kind of love of Radharani, which is Samartha Prem. And her love and power is so great that we see here that she just glances at Krishna, and then he becomes like a doll in her hands, like a toy animal controlled by her. Because we see in the Bhagavatam that this mood, that when Krishna is in Dwarka, when Krishna assumes his Vasudeva form, Vasudeva Krishna is in Dwarkadish, and he's with these beautiful goddesses of fortune, the queens. There's a verse in chapter 61 of 10th canto, verse 4, it says, Smayava loka lava darshita bhavahari Prumandala prahita sorata mantra sonde Pantyastu sorasha sahasram ananga bhaner Yasyandriyam vimatitum kuakarana seku. That verse is explaining that although when Krishna was in the private quarters with Satyabhama, Mitravinda, Lakshmana, Satya, Rukmini, and the other queens of Dwarka, they would cast love-laden glances at him and make amorous gestures, and they would glance at him in such a romantic and interested way. But it says that although they made the most enchanting, playful movements of their eyebrows, which are compared to the bow, eyebrows like a bow of Kandarpa's bana, the word is there, the Ananga bana. Bana means arrow, bana. Ananga means Cupid, the bodiless one. They were shooting lusty glances at Krishna, but he was not affected. He was not agitated. They were like the arrows of Cupid. Imagine thousands and thousands of queens shooting you with arrows. But he was not agitated. He was cool. It was not interested. It appeared to be not even interested, or even the slightest bit disturbed or attracted. That's Krishna and Dwarka. So that shows that the power of the queens of Dwarka, when they all get together, they all gang up on Krishna. Thousands and thousands of queens release their arrows, their love-laden arrows, their Ananga Bana, and Krishna is just standing there. What happened? Anything happened? I don't. You feel anything? I don't feel anything. He's cool as a cucumber, as they say. Cool as a cube of ice. Cool, calm, and collected. But when Radharani just casts 1/4 of her glance, a kataksha of her eye, the corner of her eye, then he's, so see the power of Radharani's love. See the power of her Radha's supreme love. When Jiva Goswami, when he comments on this verse, chapter 61, verse 4, he says that when Shukamuni describes the rasa dance, he describes how the gopis fully control Krishna with their supreme love. But in this verse about the Dwarka queens, they can't even with all the amorous means at their command, they can't even enchant Krishna in the slightest. He's immovable, like the Himalayas. So this proves the superiority of the gopis' love over the queens of Dwarka. So now that's on the level of, you can say, the Adidaivic level of the verse. And the Adibhotik level is describing it, and then the Adhyatmic level, which means us. What is the application to us? So that comes through, or that is revealed when he's in the last line, when he's praying in his sadhaka roop. He's saying Sadharana Gatim. He's actually praying to Radharani. He's saying, please slacken my ordinary course in this material world. I have my course. It's very ordinary. The life we're living is very ordinary. Birth and death, disease, old age, and repeated birth, death, old age, and disease, and goes on and on. There's nothing extraordinary about our material lives. So the acharyas are saying that Sadharana Gati can also not only mean our course of life, our ordinary sadharana, course of samsara, our sojourn in the samsara, our traveling in the cycle of repeated birth and death. In one level, this prayer is a prayer to Radharani to please stop the samsara, release us, enables us to and control us, take us under your control. As you're controlling Krishna like a toy animal, now I'm controlled by your expansion. Your expansion is controlling me like a toy animal. Who is your expansion? Who is Radharani's expansion? Durga. Durga is Radharani. She's expanded from Radharani. So Durga, we're also dancing. We're dancing like a toy animal, but we're dancing in control of Durga. And the strings that are making us dance, what are the strings that are connected to the doll or to the puppet? Durga is a puppeteer, and it's the 3 gunas. Tamagun, Rajagun, and Sattvagun. Those are the strings that are attached to our mind, our body, our heart, our intelligence, our mind. These strings, these triguna, these ropes are there. And then Durga is the puppeteer, and we're the toy animal. She's out, jump, run for this, run for that, jump, laugh, this. Go for this. So we're praying to Radharani, please, can you call Durga off? Call off your dog. Your dog is biting me, and his dog is barking and chasing me and biting me. Ow! Hey, call your dog, will you? So please, Radharani, please slacken my course of life in this material world, my sadharana gati. Gati, I'm going to a very ordinary place. What's ordinary? Yamaloka. What's ordinary? To get another body. This is the ordinary course of things. The ordinary course of everyone's life is that you're born, janma, you get old, jara, you get disease, vyadi, and then you die, mrityu. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi. And then in between all that, and what you bounce around in between all that is dukkha, dosha, and darshanam. Dukkha, dosha, and darshanam. You see, anudarshan, one after the other, you get to see and experience different faults, problems, difficulties, doshas, and then dukkhas, unhappinesses, miseries, setbacks, afflictions, problems. This is the material world. This is a sadharana gati. This is the ordinary course of activity. You run along the course, and what is the goal? Death. And what is the goal after that? Rebirth. So Saraswati Pad is praying to Radharani, please, can you slow this down? Can you slacken it? It says his word shishlagat. It says, can you slacken it? Can you diminish it? Can you slow it down? Can you slow down my race? I'm going a little bit too fast and a little bit too far forward towards the jaws of death. Can you slow down the progress? Can you bestow some mercy on me? So now another meaning of sadharana gati it's given here is that this means ordinary moods. As we said, sadharana prem means, or samanjasa, it's actually sadharana rati. This type of love or attachment is ordinary. So sadharana gati also means moods or mellows. So slacken our ordinary moods means, may Radharani cause me to forget any other consciousness but Manjari Bhav, the mood of her surrendered maidservants. This is a very rustic interpretation or understanding, but of course that must be there, because Saraswati Pad, in many of these verses, he's writing in the mood of a Manjari. Although it's generally accepted by many that Prabhupada Saraswati, of course, is Tunga Vidyasaki, and many others accept that Vrikeshwara Pandit is also Tunga Vidyasaki. Nevertheless, the Acharyas say that Prabhupada Saraswati, he is presenting, most of these verses are presented in the mood of Sakhi Bhav or Nayak Bhav, but many verses are in the mood of Manjari Bhav. So the commentator is seeing that this verse is indicating Manjari Bhav, that my moods now are not exactly submissive to Radharani. So there's a prayer here that I will forget any other consciousness, sadharana, any other type of ordinary consciousness or ordinary feelings. They will be removed and replaced with extraordinary feelings, not sadharana, but extraordinary feelings and extraordinary desires, and that I will desire to become your kinkari. It's called kinkari bhav. Ainanda tanaja kinkaram. That I will become interested only in serving your lotus feet, O Srimati Radhika, and this will be my only consciousness. Then my consciousness will not be sadharana gati, will not be ordinary consciousness or ordinary moods, but it will be extraordinary. It is known as bhavalas rati. That it will not be sadharana rati, it will be bhavalas rati. That my rati, or my attachment, or my love, will follow the course of your heart. As your heart rises and falls in particular moods of love towards Krishna, my heart will also rise and fall, being in your service. Bhav ulas rati. So this is this verse 188, describing how the slightest glance of Srimati Radharani turns Krishna into a submissive plaything, or as he says in Sanskrit, a krida mriga. Mriga means animal. Mriga can also mean deer, and krida means playful. A playful deer, a playful animal. Just like our Sita Devi, when she was in the forest with Ram, then this one mystic tantric servant of Ravana, he took the form of a sona mriga, a golden deer, and he was prancing around the forest and looking and flashing his effulgence among the green trees. Green and gold is a very nice combination. So this golden deer was jumping and playing, and Sita saw this golden deer jumping in the green forest among the green leaves and trees. Oh Ram, look at that golden deer, so attractive. Please, I want to control him. I want to have him. I want to make that deer my pet. I want to control him. Ram, can you get that deer? So then Ram went out to catch that deer for the pleasure of his beloved Sita Devi. So he wanted to offer that deer to become the Krita Mriga, become the plaything of Sita. So this is Ram Leela. But here the deer is not Maricha. The deer is not Maricha. Maricha was this person who was a mystic tantric who turned his body into a deer. The deer was not Maricha. The Mriga was not Maricha. The Mriga was Murari. Right? Krishna Murari was the Mriga. And Radharani turns the Mriga of Murari into her plaything, her play deer, her Krita Mriga, with her Radha Kripa Kataksha, with her sidelong glance, which is also on a bana. It's called a Nanga bana. Means an arrow. With the arrow of her sidelong glance, which is full of cupidity, full of amorous pleasure, and full of amorous delight, and amorous invitations, when Krishna gets struck in by the Anangabana of Radharani's sidelong glance, then he becomes controlled like a toy deer, like a pet deer. Just as Ram shot his arrow, his bana, Ram bana, he shot his arrow at Mriga, or at Maricha, who had the form of a deer in Ram Leela. It's very interesting. Krita Mriga. So, in Ram Leela, a demon becomes a deer, and Sita Krishna becomes a deer, and Radharani shoots the deer also. But she shoots the deer with a love-laden glance. Doesn't kill the deer. Well, she kills him in one sense. She devastates him. He drops his flute. He drops his pagri and more. His dhoti drops off, and he faints on the ground, pralaya. So there's a devastation, but not destruction. He simply starts breathing heavily and sweating, but he's still alive. And then she revives the Krita Mriga by whispering in his ear, "Oh Sham, are you all right? Please get up." Then he gets up, and then she says, "Now you can dress me." Then she takes control of her Krita Mriga. This all happens with just one arrow from the sidelong glance of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani ki jai. Any questions, comments? What can you say about Prayojana Tattva? We simply listen, offer our respects from 5 million miles away, and pray that someday, somehow or other, by Nam Kripa, Guru Kripa, and the mercy of the eternal associates of the Lord and Radharani herself and Sri Krishna, we become qualified to serve these wonderful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. That's it.
Maharaj, going back to Chaitanya Bhagavat, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is experiencing Radha Bhav, we cannot experience this Radha Bhav. So
not now.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give Manjari Bhav. I was wondering if there are experiences which we can relate to.
Well, that's quite outside the topic in one sense, but in the Chaitanya Charitamrita there are at least 2 or 3 pastimes where Mahaprabhu is, as our acharyas are saying, he seems to be relishing and showing the mood of manjaris. One is at the Yamuna, one is at Govardhan, and there's one more also. One's at the Yamuna, one's at Govardhan, and the other's in some field somewhere, I forget. Maybe both at Govardhan.
Picking flowers?
Yeah, the picking flowers. But at Yamuna, when Krishna, he's meditating, of course, when he's floating around the ocean, Indian Ocean, and going that whole Leela where he was caught in the fisherman's net, he was meditating that, why did you revive me? Where have you brought me to? I was in Vrindavan, and I was standing on the banks of the Yamuna, and I was waiting to render service to Radha and Krishna, and they were enjoying water sports in the Yamuna, and they were splashing each other. So in this pastime, Gauranga, who is supposed to be either Radha or Krishna, and in Sannyas Leela, and at this time in Puri, he was Krishna relishing the Radha Bhav, Mahabhav of Radha. So he's in Radha Bhav, he's Radha. But now, in this Leela, this fisherman Leela getting caught in the net of the fisherman in Konark or wherever, he's saying that I am standing on the bank, I'm seeing Radha and Krishna in the Yamuna. So then who is the I? Who is the I that's speaking? So the Acharyas are saying, at that point, Lord Chaitanya is trying to show that the I is the Manjari, the Kinkari, waiting to serve Radharani when she finishes her water sports with Krishna and comes out to the bank of the Yamuna. So that's one example that shows Manjari Bhav or Kinkari Bhav, and the others, there's two actually, three altogether. But Lord Chaitanya says, yes, I'm with the Sakhis, I'm picking flowers, and nearby Govardhan, and then I see that Radha and Krishna are entering a cave there to enjoy their Rati Keli, and I'm making this nice garland that I can offer to Radha and Krishna in the cave at Govardhan. So it's another example of Lord Chaitanya being in the mood of Manjari. But the whole thing is, all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are certainly nourishing for this Kinkari Bhav. And you just have to trace out the particular teaching and nourishment in any given pastime. It's not that they're not part and parcel of that bhav. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayavacha Vitanana bhavanyo vaishnava. Reading from Radharasa Sudhanidhi, we've been discussing the Radhika Mahima, Radhika Rupa Mahima, the glories of Srimati Radharani's transcendental form, and at this point we're discussing Radha Kripa Kataksha Mahima, the glories of Radharani's Kripa Kataksha, the sidelong glance of mercy. Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, in Radharasa Sudhanidhi, he cites different verses to glorify the corner or the sidelong glance, which means just a portion of Radharani's beautiful, sweet glance. What power it has, what effect it has. And we've been hearing about it. And in verse number 7, now we begin with the Radhika Rupa Mahima, but now it's the Vandana Chandra Mahima. Vandana means face, and Chandra means moon. So now continue to hear about the glories of Radharani's transcendental form. Now we've heard about her feet for many verses, and now we're going to hear about her face. And it's interesting to think about it actually in this. And there's one book, it's mentioned, it's quoted here in this Art of Chanting. There's a book written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and he talks about the meditation in this book. He talks about meditating on the divine couple, and it's a book called Rupa Chintamani. And unlike most meditations, when the scriptures, the Bhagavatam or other Puranas, when they talk about meditating on Bhagavan or meditating on Vishnu, they advise the devotee or the Vaishnava to begin by meditating on the feet, to meditate on the feet. And we have heard, and it's also mentioned in the Bhagavad Mahatmyam, the first two cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1 and 2, they represent the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Unveiling the lotus feet. And Burijan has written his own realizations and presented a very wonderful book to describe and help understand the first four cantos of the Bhagavatam, which are more than just the lotus feet. But the title of the book is Unveiling the Lotus Feet of Krishna, or Unveiling the Lotus Feet. So this first and second canto are considered to be the lotus feet of the Lord, because the Bhagavatam is Bhagavat Sarup of Radha and of Krishna, and also Radharani, because they're inseparable. So his entire form is there. So the meditation begins at the lotus feet. But Vishwanath Chakravarti, when he describes meditating on the form of the Lord, he's writing this particular book for those that are have some rag, some attraction for Radha and Krishna. And he's advising such intimate sadhakas who have awoken some degree of intimacy for the Lord and are treading the path of Raganuga sadhana, that they should meditate on their Ishtadev, not beginning with the feet, but beginning with a smile. Because it's sweetness. Raga is based on sweetness. You cannot be attracted to something that's not sweet. So Rag Bhakti it's some kind of sweetness has captured one. And that usually doesn't really happen in a genuine way until someone comes to Ruchi and Bhajan. If it can be imitative or temporary, you may say, yes, I'm very attracted, and begin to study some deep subjects. But after a few months you drop it. You don't stay with it. But if the attraction is based on Ruchi and sweetness, then it gets inside of you and you can't quit and you can't stop. And that's kind of the sentence of genuine lobha or greed or rag. So he's advising such sadhakas that they should meditate, begin on their Ishtadevs, not on the feet of their Ishtadev, which all the Puranas are telling, advising all the Vishnu Bhaktas and Ram Bhaktas and Krishna Bhaktas and Vaidhi Sadhana, the Vaidhi Sadhakas. They're advising everyone to meditate on the feet, on the lotus feet of the Lord. Pada Sevanam or Charan Dhyan. But he's telling that, oh my dear mind, now listen to me. First of all, I want you to meditate upon one partner of this divine couple. One of the two of them, one has a complexion as lustrous as a fresh rain cloud. Begin right now and remember, just remember, first and foremost and for all eternity, meditate on Krishna's attractively sweet, gentle smile. And then when he begins the meditation on Radharani, and then he goes from there, he goes down the transcendental body, then back up the transcendental body. Then when he describes Radharani, then he says, when he starts about Radharani, it's the same thing. Meditate on Radharani's smile. So this is where we are now in Radharani Sudanidhi, and describing Bandhana Chandra Mahima, the glories of Radharani's moon-like face. So there's the verse here, is verse number 7 of a few verses. Tanna pratikshana chamatkrita charalila lavanya mohana maha madaranga bangi radhananam hi madaranga kala nidhanam avirbhavyashyati kara rasa sindhu saram. It appears to be similar to Brahma Samhita melody. Avirbhavishyati kada rasa sindhu saram. Prabhupada is praying, when will Sri Radha's moon-like face, that is the matchless quintessence of the ocean of nectar. Well, that's pretty concentrated. And whose ever astonishing, playful beauty causes Mohan, Krishna, to stand in his sweet threefold bending form. When will that beautiful moon-like face, Vadana Chandra, become manifest to us? So this, of course, is a prayer. He's in his sadhaka roop, Avesh, praying on behalf of us and praying for that, to see that beautiful face of Radharani, which Vishnu Chakravarti is encouraging us to meditate on when we begin our Rupa Chintamani or Rupa Dhyan, meditating on the sweet form of our sweet Ishtadev and Ishtadevata, Radha and Krishna. So in this, the words in this verse, of course, they're very deep and profound, and it's explaining here that this verse, it says the quintessence of the ocean of Ras. That phrase is there, Rasa Sindhu Saram. Sindhu means ocean, rasa, and sara means essence. So you can imagine how concentrated that is. We have some idea, we're familiar with something about concentration, because sometimes we boil milk, and we boil it and boil it and boil it, and eventually you get burfi. So this burfi is a little tiny piece, and the milk is so big. So it all boils off and becomes a small piece. And that's very concentrated and very sweet and very relishable and very satisfying. And now you can imagine if you take an ocean of ras and you boil it down, ocean is unlimited. These are all different phrases to try to understand, because there's really no comparison. There's nothing. What can you compare Radharani's face to? First of all, it's transcendental, totally spiritual. There's nothing material about it. And then what is her face made out of? Is it made of any kind of element of this world? It's not made of any kind of element. Even if you want to say her face is made of Satchidananda, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, or Nija Rupa Dayakalavi. If you want to say that Radharani is Nija Rupa Kala, Nija Rupiya Kalavi, you want to say that Radharani is a Kala of Krishna's Rup, Nija Rupa Kala. The Radharani is an expansion of Krishna's Rup, which Brahma is saying that all the Parishads are expansions of Krishna, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavidhavis Tabirya Eva Nija Rupa Dayakalavi. If you want to say that Radharani is an expansion of Krishna's Rup, Nija Rupa Kala, as Brahma is saying, then you have to say that Radharani is an expansion of Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Because Govinda is Satchidananda Vigraha. His Vigraha, his form, his murti is Satchidananda. It's eternal Sat, Chit, made of unlimited consciousness, and Ananda, bliss. But then again, it's wrong. Because Radharani's body is not that. It's something different. It's not Krishna's Nija Rupataya. Radharani's body is Mahabhav, Swarupini. Radharani's body is made of Mahabhav, which Krishna doesn't have. That's not Nija Rupa. It's not within him. That's its own manifestation. Krishna expands his Radha, and where a Mahabhav comes, it just exists. This is Radharani. Sometimes they have this phrase that scientists go into the lab and they fool around, and then they mutate this gene and that gene, and then they create a monster. Monster means they create some new disease, like HIV or this or that, and they create new diseases, and then they get out of the lab and infect everybody. It's happened so many times. Many of the diseases in modern times are created by the scientists. If you read these under these New Age newspapers, they tell you about the actual facts of the world. They're all demons. They're all gone crazy, these people. So it's very interesting. Krishna he's not a mad scientist, but he's expanded for Vilas. He's one Eko Bahusham. The one became many, Eko Bahusham. Krishna, for the purpose of Vilas, or pleasure pastime, he's expanded into Radha. Of course, it's eternal. But anyway, this Tattva is described like that. So our pea-like brains have something to hold on to. But so then this expansion, of course, is totally transcendental. Radharani's form is totally transcendental. But then something new is created there. Something new manifested there, which is beyond Krishna's conception, beyond his understanding. Mahabhav Sarupini. Therefore, what is this Mahabhav? How does she feel? And then he has to take her position. He has to become Radha and to understand what is his Mahabhav. Divyan Mahabhav. So therefore, when the Acharyas try to compare or describe this form of Radharani, or Vadana Chandra Mahima, the glories of her face, all the words, Saraswati, if Saraswati teams up with you and collects all the words in the universe and try to describe the beauty of Radharani's face, it will fall short. Rasa Sindhu Saram. I mean, think of the infinitude of these expressions. I mean, these are the most infinite type of words you could use. It's ocean. Imagine you take a whole ocean and put it inside your pressure cooker. You take the whole ocean, put it on your stove in a pot, and cook it down. And boil it down to 5 milliliters. That's really concentrated. and that's Radharani, Rasa Sindhu Sara. The essence of the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence. The that's why the word is a quintessence. It means the essence of all essences and beyond. Because it's transcendental. This quintessence is a word of this world. It falls short of describing her, of Radha. But at any rate, it's certainly, the attempt is to deepen our knowledge of, appreciation of, our consideration of, and our respect for the goal of our life, the Ishta Devata, Srimati Radharani. Because all of this sambandha, all this knowledge and appreciation is required for one to become a divine slave. To become enlisted in the divine slavery of Radharani, then all such knowledge is required. If one is not sufficiently learned in the Nam, Rup, Gun and Leela of Radharani, then he will not be mohita, like the students of Mahaprabhu. He will not be enchanted. Mohita, he will not be enchanted and captivated with the prospect of becoming the eternal maidservant or Paliyadasi of Srimati Radharani. It will only be a whim. It will be a passing whim or a passing cloud. It comes in front. It blows in. The wind blows a cloud in front of your eyes, and you see it, and the wind blows it beyond your eyes, and now you don't see it. So maybe a passing cloud. Oh yes, Radhadasyam, the divine service of Radharani. Oh, interesting prospect, interesting proposal. Read some books, and then a few years later, oh, I was into that. I'm not into that now. I'm selling used cars now. I'm selling used cars. And it sounds funny, but I know people like this. They came to Vrindavan, they stayed a few years, they got involved with some very good things, and now they're involved with their bhog sanskaras. So this knowledge, why do the acharyas go to so much trouble to give all these books? They're to be accepted and studied according to our adhikar at the right level, and embraced, and especially in association, because then we can receive the right things. I remember once I was with a group of devotees, and we were going to some advanced devotees to discuss some verses from different books by the Goswamis. So we would ask the teacher, "Can you please explain the meaning of this verse?" Then the teacher would say, "You're not qualified." As they say, a foolish person can ask more questions than a wise man can answer. So it was very easy to, well, what's this mean? And what does that mean? And he's a great champion of this. Because Western people are really, really great. Western people are really good. Western people means me, are really good at asking questions. But they're not very good at developing adhikar. They're very good at asking questions, but not very good at displaying adhikar to receive the answer. Or let's say, developing or displaying. Not very good at developing the adhikar to receive the answer. Adhikar means the eligibility or the qualification. Are you qualified to receive the answer for the question you are asking? Well, you're a guru, and you're a teacher, and I'm your student, so I can ask any damn question about any subject, and you have to answer. Oh, really? Well, guess what? I'm taking Maun Brat. Because no one can force a sadhu to speak. That's all throughout the scriptures. Sadhus speak according to inspiration, and according to the adhikar of the audience. It's not, and even there's injunctions for those sadhus that are a little bit more broad-minded. Be careful. Don't give everything to everybody. That can be offensive. If you give high thing to a low qualified person, then you're in trouble. Teacher's in trouble. What to speak of the recipient? They're in more trouble because their faith gets turned over. They get sunk. So if you sink someone's boat, it's not a very good gesture. Someone's going along in a boat, and then you drop a torpedo on knock them and they sink. You're not a very good friend. So the faith is like a boat, and that faith is carrying us across the ocean of devotion, and keeping us from drowning in the Bhavasagar. But if someone drops a heavy topic in our boat, then we can sink our faith. Our faith can be sunk and we become atheists. What to speak of aparadis. So tomorrow we'll hear some more descriptions about the quintessence of the ocean of Ras and the great glories of the moon-like face of Srimati Radharani. No, well, you said Vishwanath? Or? No, I'm just I know the verse from Prabhupada Saraswati is being let's see, where are we now? Yes, this is the translation that's given to this verse, and I'm going to explain that tomorrow, because the Sanskrit words are there, and we'll see how the acharyas are translating like that. If that's your question, I mean, we'll try to answer it tomorrow based on it. I think because that verse is not Vishwanath, which you mentioned in your question. It's actually Prabhupada Saraswati. He is saying that the beautiful moonlight face of Radharani, which is full of so much ras, when Krishna sees that, then he can't stand straight and he stands in Tribhanga. That's what the verse is saying. So how that translation is there, the Sanskrit words are there, and we'll hear that tomorrow. Yeah, you're asking kind of a multi-layered question, whether you're aware of it or not. One point is that what these acharyas, Prabhupada Saraswati, Vishwanath, Raghunath Das, Rupa Goswami, what they're describing is the ontology of the spiritual world. What is the actual tattva? What is the actual truth and position of Radha and Krishna, who are the supreme energetic and supreme energy, and how this is the transcendental existence, the existential truth of what's happening in the spiritual world, and when they manifest their lila here in this world, prakat lila. So this is the tattva, and it's interwoven with lila to explain the tattva. So that's basically, we're discussing tattva, transcendental truths about the spiritual world and the spiritual reality of Radha and Krishna and their divinity, their transcendental name and form and qualities and pastimes, and ultimately leading to their surrender and seva. Now, Murti Puja and Archan and the manifestation of transcendence in this world, which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, in the commentary on 11th Canto Bhagavatam, he explains the 5 different forms of the Lord: the Swayam Roop and Prabhav, Vaibhav and Prabhav, or Prakash Roop, Vaibhav Roop, Antaryami and Murti, or Archamurti, or Vigraha, which you mentioned. So these are, in one sense, they are 5 equal manifestations of divinity, or the absolute truth, but there's also some difference, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So the Murti, of course, according to our own adhikar, again it gets back to adhikar, according to our devotional attainment or accomplishment, and what is the level of our faith and what is the level of our bhakti, is it the level of bhav or prem, then we will see the Archamurti in a particular way. We may see simply that it's a Murti. We're a devotee, and we see the deity form, or the Murti. It's a Murti. This is a representation of Radha. Radha's here. She's nicely dressed, and she's smiling, and she seems to be smiling at me today, and I made a nice garland, and then when I look at her, she seems to have a different smile. I think she liked my garland. And we have all these different interactions from our level. And that's, we believe that, and we have those feelings, and that's our reality, and that's Krishna's arrangement to increase our faith and increase our surrender and attachment. And that's going on. So that's the level of Archamurti. But so reciprocating with our adhikar. But as we advance in devotional line, and we come to the level of prema or bhav, then that same, what appears to be Archamurti, becomes Swayam Bhagavan. Because in the same regard, the acharyas are explaining, for most of the jivas, the Paramatma, Antaryami, is the super soul, Chaturbhuj Narayan. But for one who is on a platform of Bhakti Bhajan, and especially when he enters the level of Bhava, that Antaryami is no longer Antaryami Chaturbhuj Narayan, but he becomes his personal Ishtadev. So he drops his 2 arms, he picks up a flute and starts playing his flute. So therefore the Vaishnava acharyas, they say, Govinda Vishram. Govinda is resting in your heart, and you are resting in the heart of Govinda. So when Hanuman was challenged in Treta Yuga about his capacity to meditate on Sita and Ram, being a subhuman type, although he's human, a human form, he spoke Sanskrit, knew all the Vedas, but externally appeared to be somewhat, he's human form, but not the full expression of humanity as we know it, appearing something like monkey, but not very much like monkey. Mostly is human form. When he was challenged about his ability to meditate on Sita and Ram, he said, "Oh, you don't think I can meditate? Actually, I've enshrined them in my heart. They're in my heart, and I'll show you." And he opened his chest. And when they saw inside, they didn't see Chaturbhuj Narayan with Lakshmi massaging his feet. They saw Sita and Ram, and Hanuman also, and Lakshman. So the Acharyas, when they give comments in 11th Canto Bhagavatam, they explain that the super soul becomes Krishna, for the Krishna Bhakta. So now, Antaryami is also one of the 5 manifestations of the Absolute Truth, which we mentioned. Swayam and Prakash and Vaibhav, like this. So in the same way, the Archamurti, for the advanced devotee, the level of bhakti or praying, becomes Swayam Bhagavan. How he becomes Swayam Bhagavan? He can talk, he can walk, he can interact personally, he can speak, he can appear in dreams, he can, so many things that happens, Madhavendra Puri and so many other cases are there. So the Archamurti can, according to our Adhikar, can be that Mahabhav Sarupini if we are on a level of prema. Radhe Radhe. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Radharasa Sudanidhi, we started reading about the glories of Radharani's moon-like face, Vadana Chandra, Mahima. And we read yesterday how it's Rasa Sindhusaram, and we discussed how the beauty of her face is, so many different rasas are there because her body is made of Mahabhav, and it's, if you take an ocean and condense it, she's the essence of an entire ocean of ras. And then there's some pastime where Radharani shows how beautiful her face looks when Krishna sees it. And then we want to hear also how Krishna is standing why he stands in threefold bending form. There's one pastime that shows the beauty of Radharani's face. And sometimes when Radha and Krishna they're together on the banks of the Yamuna or in Radhakund or anywhere, they enter a Keli Nikunj or a pastime grove, a forest grove. And at that time Krishna is very eager. He feels very eager to serve Priyaji in different ways. Because as we're so eager, or at least trying to become eager to serve Krishna, we should know that this seva utsaha nischayat dariyat. In Upadeshamrita, Rupa Goswami explains that these are the characteristics, the lakshana of a sevite, of a servant, that he's very utsaha, nishta. He's always eager, enthusiastic. He's very enthusiastic to serve. And he serves with great steadiness. He's very steady. And he's very patient and tolerant, but always looking for an opportunity to serve. Where's service? Where's service? Where's service? Not that he's just standing around looking out the window, because there's service everywhere. This world is made of opportunities for service. And the spiritual world, every inch of the spiritual world is providing arrangement, providing facility for serving. Every moment there's an opportunity to serve Radha and Krishna and to give them pleasure. And the same thing in this world. In every opportunity, in every place we look or see, there's an opportunity to serve Radha and Krishna, to engage someone or something in the service of Guru and Krishna, everywhere. And as we chant more purely, our hearts become painted, like you paint the walls of a room. Our hearts become painted with this bhav, seva bhav, service bhav. So wherever we look, we see opportunities to serve. But most people, especially new people, they may be standing in a room somewhere or in an ashram, and there's 500 different services that could be rendered, and they don't see any of them. Even if there's the floor is covered with milk right in front of them, they don't even see it. They don't even see it somehow or other, because the enjoying spirit is so great. The I'm ahamameti spirit is so great, even in sadhakas, that I and mine, that I'm the center, I'm the enjoyer, that we can't see anything else. We can't see service. We can't see the opportunities for serving others or for serving the situation, what to speak of Guru and Krishna. Because we're so absorbed in making arrangements for and utilizing the environment for our own service, for our own pleasure, for our own satisfaction. But here, on the topmost level of Krishna's Leela, Krishna himself, he's looking, where's an opportunity to serve Radharani? This is the beauty of the Goswami Granths. They actually show us the heart of God. The other Vaishnava scriptures, they try to teach the sadhaka how to have the heart of a devotee. But they don't really reveal much about the heart of God. But the Goswami Granths, the followers of Lord Chaitanya, they actually expose the inner heart of God himself. What is his heart made of? But in Sri Ram Bhaktas, Vishnu Bhaktas, they have no real idea about the heart of God. Because their scriptures, they're all teaching about how to have the heart of a devotee, and how to serve the Lord, and love Ram, love Narayan. But the intimacies of what we find about the Lord is unbelievable. It's overwhelming. How Krishna operates, and how he thinks. So now he's entered Nikunj, and most would think, now he's in Nikunj, now he's going to enjoy. He's with his Swamini, he's with his Priyaji. Now he'll take advantage of the situation and enjoy himself. When a man is with his wife or whomever, he doesn't think, now I finally attained the object of my desire. The object of my desire, finally attained intimate opportunity to enjoy the object of my desire, and now let me serve them. Let me serve. Now I'm alone with my wife. How can I? Let me massage her feet. Let me do some service. But this is what God thinks. This is what Krishna thinks. So then, with his eyes, he indicates to the mandris, I want to serve Priyaji. I want to serve Radharani. So the mandris run out and get a pitcher of water and a cup. And then, taking that water pitcher, then Krishna, because they've been walking, Radha and Krishna have been walking along the banks of Radhakund or Shamakund, touring the different forests, going through the different 6 seasonal forests, rainy season, and fall season, winter and spring. And maybe while they're walking along here and there, going through different seasonal forests, there may be some dust in this forest or some mud in that forest due to the rain or the dryness. So Swamini's feet have some dirt on them, some mud on them. So Krishna notices that. So then when he enters the Nikunj, he doesn't think, we're going to Nikunj. There's the flower bed, and the incense is billowing, and it smells so fragrant, and the mandris are pulling on the flower fan. It's such a beautiful atmosphere here, and I'm really feeling desirous, and here's my opportunity. But he's thinking, look, Radharani's feet, there's some Braja Raj there, and a beautiful color of her feet can't be seen. It's covered with this dirt. There's an opportunity for me to wash Radharani's feet. So then he indicates that with his eyes. It's all told with his eyes. And the mandris say, look at this. And the mandris become so happy. Braja Kishore wants to bathe Swamini's feet. Acha, let me, that I want to see, that I want I want to help. So immediately they run out and get the water and they come back. So then Krishna, he bends down and he sits Radharani on the edge of the flower bed, and then he starts washing Priyaji's lotus feet. Then the mandris, they bring in the water, and they bring in maybe some bowl to put underneath Radharani's feet to catch the water, the Radhacharanamrita. But then in their hurry to bring the water, they forgot to bring some towel to dry her feet. And then they become so absorbed in admiring Radharani's feet, how the beauty becomes revealed as the dirt falls off the feet, seeing the beautiful toenails and the parasiti rididigta satpadangali nake, the padangali, the beautiful toenails of Radharani emanating such beautiful soft and soothing and brilliant ruby red light, which satisfies the heart and attracts the eyes. The mandris are relishing that, and they're lost in their own relish. But more than relishing that, they're relishing the face of Shyam as he's serving their Swamini. They're relishing seeing the face of someone engaged in devotional service. Because it's also very relishable to serve Krishna. It's also very relishable to see someone engaged in Krishna's service, really into it, with heart and soul. Someone who's actually with feelingly chanting his rounds with devotion and attention and surrender, or feelingly cooking for the Lord. Just to look in the kitchen, see someone cooking an offering, they're chanting, they're singing, they're absorbed in their Lord, and to see the face of that person. This, of course, creates lots of sanskars for bhakti, just to see. That's why we go on parikramā. That's why we go to holy places, so we can see the faces of pure people and devoted people. I remember when I used to live in Vrindavan, sometimes I would walk backwards on the parikramā marg. I wasn't on parikramā, but I was just chant japa and walk backwards on the parikramā marg and look at all the sadhus. I wouldn't really look at ladies too much, because that's not very much anukul. But I would look at all the saintly people, and I make eye contact with them also, deliberately, and with a loving, appreciative look. And they would look at me, and I look at them, and they say, Jai Radhe, or Hare Krishna, and then they would say, Hare Krishna, Jai Radhe. And then I would imprint that in my heart. I would take that picture with the Polaroid camera of my heart, and keep that face in my heart, that pure face, that devoted face, that dedicated face. Because sometimes I see the faces of persons that have been going on Vrindavan Parikramā every day for 50 years, 30 years. So that's a powerful face. That's a pure face, that's a dedicated face, that's a devotional face. And that's the kind of face I'd like to have. But it may take a few thousand lifetimes. At least I can take pictures of those type of faces and record them in my heart. So, more than relishing the sight of Radharani's feet being bathed by Shyam, the Manjaris are relishing seeing the face of Shyam engaged in Radharani's service. How he's absorbed, and how he's so much attentive, and how he's so careful, and how he's not doing something else while he's bathing Radharani's feet. He's not chanting japa while he's bathing Radharani's feet. He's not rolling chapatis while he's bathing Radharani's feet. He's not licking envelopes for life membership while he's bathing Radharani's feet. He's not editing a newsletter while he's bathing Radharani's feet. He's not, rebooting his hard drive or cleaning up his hard disk while he's bathing Radharani's feet. Of course, he is cleaning up his hard disk. He's cleaning up his heart from all those Chandravali bobs. But that's a side point. But what happens is that the Manjari becomes lost in rapture seeing Krishna serving Radharani's feet, and she forgets to bring the towel. So Krishna can't wait. So immediately he takes his yellow chadar. And he takes his own chadar and starts drying Radharani's feet with his own chadar. And then when the Manjari sees that, she, oh my God, I forgot to bring the towel. Anyway, it's too sweet, it's too late now, I might as well sit here and keep relishing. So he starts drying Radharani's feet because he's doing puja, he's doing charana puja. But then the Manjari thinks, oh, I forgot the towel, but at least I can get the next item of puja. So then Manjari runs out and picks some beautiful bela flowers and some gardenias, Rajgandha. It's called Rajgandha, the king of fragrances. Brings some beautiful white Rajgandha, gardenia flowers, and some bela flowers, and rushes back in, just in time for Krishna, because now he's washed Radharani's feet from all the dust, and then he, with that water from the water pitcher, and then now it's time to offer artik. So then the Manjari hands flowers. So then Krishna offers flowers. Idam pushpam sringrang radikaye swaha. And he offers flowers at her feet with proper mantras. And then he chants Prem Dwani, because after artik you're supposed to chant the Prem Dwani. Nityalila pravishtam vishnupad shishimad asi, like this, right? Prem Dwani. So then he chants the Prem Dwani to his Ishtadev. Then he says, Jai Premamayi ki, Jai Premamayi Radhika ki, Jai. She is my Premamayi. She is my abode of Prem. She is made of Prem. She is Prem personified. All glories to Premamayi Radhika. So now he's concluded his artik. So after you conclude the artik and the puja, the bathing and then artik and then the Prem Dwani, then you offer obeisances. So it's told in the Shastras we should offer obeisances with 8 limbs, Antaranga and Bahiranga. So we offer with the body, the external body, but also with the words. We're supposed to say something. We're supposed to chant the pranam mantras, or just say Jai, we pay Jai Gurudev, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Babaji Maharaj, or whatever. Say something. Jai Guru Maharaj or Namo Vishnu Krishna Saya, whatever the pranam mantra is. So that's with the words, and then with the mind. The mind must be embracing the feet of the Guru that we're paying obeisances to. So now Krishna has finished his artik, he's chanted the Prem Dhwani, he's offering obeisances at the feet of his Ishtadev, begging for forgiveness, any offenses in his puja. Any offenses he may have made in puja. Mantrahinam, kriyahinam, bhaktihinam, janardana, yat pujitam mayadevam paripanam darastame. Like this, he's chanting mantras to be aparad bhanga, mantras to break the aparads. But the thing is that this is not an ordinary pujari. This pujari is Bhagavan, is Krishna, this is Priyatam. And this is not an ordinary Ishtadev or Ishtata. This is Radharani, Premamai Radharani. So when this pujari offers obeisances after his artik, he starts crying. Premashru. And with those tears, he offers another bathing of Radharani's feet. So he concludes his puja of Radharani by bathing Radharani's feet with his Premashru, which is appropriate conclusion to the worship of Premamai Radharani. So now we are hearing, this verse is about the beauty of Radharani's moon-like face, which is says Chamatkara. It says Chamatkrita Charulila Lavanya Mohana. It says that her face is Radhananam. Anana means face. Radhananam Madhuranga Kalanidanam. Kalanidhi, Kalanidanam. Nidhi means treasure, and also means the different phases of the moon. Kalanidanam is a word for the moon. Is a poetic way to say Chandra or moon, because Kala means phases, and Nidhi means Kalanidhi means the moon. So Radharani's Madhuranga, her face is so sweet, and so at this time, after Krishna's concluded his worship of Radharani, and he's looking at Radharani's feet with tears in his eyes, then Radharani is looking down at Shyam. Radharani's face at this time looks so beautiful, and so many beautiful, ecstasies are revealed in her face, and this is what's being seen in his meditation. Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur is seeing this pastime which was described, and he's appreciating how Radharani's face looks at this time. So much intimate love, so many confidential feelings, and in her face as she glances at her Priyatam, while he's offering obeisances at her feet after duly worshipping her in the Kailini Kunj. So this is described there. Very enchanting, her eyes, her movements of her eyes and her eyebrows, and so much love and so much appreciation. And this is the beauty of the spiritual world. This is the beauty of Radha and Krishna's Leela, that they're showing by their own interactions and their own loving dealings and exchanges what love is, what real love is, what pure love is. It's so pure and so sweet and so selfless and self-forgetful. We have to hear about it and over again, and think about it and meditate on it and pray for it and follow it, so that we can someday actually become qualified, and those type of feelings will come into our hearts slowly, and then we can develop the proper adhikar to receive more. We can attract their attention. It's all about attracting their attention. Without attracting their attention, there is no descension. The bhavas of their heart will not descend into their heart unless we attract them. As Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, don't try to see Krishna, but act in such a way that Radha and Krishna will try to see you. So it's a matter of attracting their attention. So bhav is magnetic. Bhav has magnetic power, attractive power. So where do we get bhav? We get bhav from Bhavamayi Radha and Bhavamayi Krishna, and the Bhava Bhaktas and the Premi Bhaktas of Krishna Leela and Gaura Leela, hearing about them, glorifying them, praying them, serving them. Then their bhavas can come into our heart. And that's the perfection, that's the siddhi. So tomorrow we'll discuss about Tribhanga. Why Krishna is standing in threefold form? There are many answers to that question. But we'll take up one answer tomorrow. Why is Krishna standing in threefold bending form? Is it because he's tired? Is it because he has spondylitis? Is it because he got in a car accident? He has a lower back, lumbago. His lumbar vertebrae are out of whack, so he can't stand straight. What is the reason? Why does Krishna stand in threefold bending form? No other form of God stands like that. Everyone else stands up straight. So his mother was very permissive. She allowed him to develop bad posture. But Kaushalya and Ram's mother, they were very strict about his posture. So he learned to stand straight, walk straight, and act straight. But Krishna didn't learn anything straight. Everything he learned was crooked. So he had to blame Mother Yashoda. She taught him all crooked things. Right? From crooked mother makes crooked child. Bhagavan Sri Krishna ki jai. Reading from Radharasa Sudhanidhi, this is verse number 7. Tanna pratikshana chamat krita charu lila lavanya mohana maha maduranga bangi radhananam hi maduranga kala nidanam avirbhavishyati kadarasa sindhusaram. When will Sri Radha's moon-like face, that is like the matchless quintessence of the ocean of ras, nectar, and whose ever-astonishing playful beauty causes Mohan Krishna to stand in his sweet threefold bending form, become manifest to us? So yesterday we discussed something about the beauty of Radharani's face, Varana Chandra, and then some Leela. We heard some pastime, how she was revealing her beautiful face when Krishna was bathing her feet and doing puja, archan to her feet, and then afterwards offering prem-dhvani and pranam, and then while offering pranam and obeisances at Radha's feet, Krishna began crying uncontrollably, and at that time he offered an additional puja of abhishek of Radharani's feet, and Radharani glanced down at Krishna, with a very beautiful face, which is described here. It's Madhuranga Kalanidanam. It's showing such sweetness and so many different aspects of loving intimacies in her face. And Prabhupada Saraswati is seeing that in his meditation and praying to see that again. So that was discussed yesterday. Then the question was asked, why does Krishna stand in his threefold bending form? So that is mentioned here, Mohana Maha Madhuranga Bangi. This phrase indicates Krishna's threefold bending form. This threefold bending form is described everywhere in Shastra by the great Mahajanacharyas and even by Lord Brahma himself in Brahma Samhita. He says, Lola Chandrakala Sadvanamali Vamshi Radnangadam Pranekeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tribangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Vajami. Tribangalalitam. He says Tribangalalitam Niyata Prakasham, that this Tribanga Krishna, he stands in Bangi. Bangi means bent. He stands in threefold bending form. His knee is bent, his hip is bent, his face is bent. So that is being seen, or was seen by Brahma and recorded in Brahma Samhita. And we see so many murtis like that. They're always depicted like that. So then the question is, why does Sham show its threefold bending form? So it's due to, it says Mohan Maha Madhuranga Bangi. He shows his Bangi, his Anga Bangi. Anga means his limbs, his knees, his hips, his elbow, his face. His Anga Bangi. He shows his Anga Bangi, this threefold Tribangi, the threefold form, because he becomes Mohan. He becomes Madura. The great sweetness of Radharani is so heavy and so overwhelming that Krishna becomes bewildered. He becomes stupefied. He becomes enchanted when he sees the Madhur Ananam, Radha Ananam Madhura, Kalanidanam. When Krishna sees the sweetness of Radharani's face, he becomes too much enchanted, to the point of being Mohan, like we say Madan Mohan. Mohan means he becomes bewildered, and he basically falls apart. He can't stand straight, he can't walk straight, he can't think straight, he can't act straight, he can't speak straight, he can't do anything straight. He becomes crooked, Bhangi, Anga Bhangi. His mind becomes bent, so then his head goes like this. Because the weight of Radharani's sweetness sits in his mind, and when if you have a heavy weight on your head, then your head will go like that. You go, oh, it's too heavy, and you want to drop it off your head. So his head bends down to the heavy weight of Radharani's sweetness that he's carrying in his mind. So then if you're carrying some heavy object with your arms, it becomes too heavy, then your arms bend down. So he's trying to hold the heaviness of Radharani, or the heaviness and sweetness of Radharani's face. And it's too heavy and too enchanting, then his arms they bend, they can't keep his arms straight, so then his arms go like this. Right? And so if you're standing up straight, and somebody puts a backpack on your back, or what do you say, rucksack, with 100 kilos, then you'll just crumple, your legs will bend. So then his legs bend, and one leg crosses the other as he's about to fall over. So this is what happens. That Krishna can't carry the heavy weight of tasting Radharani's sweetness. Radhananam hi madhuranga kala nidanam. It's a great reservoir. Nidhi means reservoir. Kala means there's so many arts. Radharani's body is a reservoir, an unlimited ocean of the most beautiful artistic qualities and abilities and charms. Kala nidanam, madhuranga nidanam. Madhuranga, all of her limbs are sweetness. But it doesn't say Bhangi, Anga Bhangi, it says Madhuranga. When it describes Radhananam, her face, Madhuranga, that's only one limb is her face. Her face is too much madhur, means too much sweet, and her arms are too sweet, like lotus stems, and her legs and her thighs, and her belly, and every part of her is so much sweet. Radhananam, Madhuranga, Kalanidanam. And so this is Radharani. She is the Kalanidanam. She is a reservoir. She is an unlimited ocean of kala, of artistic qualities, charms, and sweetness. And her anga, her limbs are all madhur. But what happens to Krishna when he experiences his madhuranga of Radharani? He becomes anga bhangi. His anga become bhangi. His limbs become bent. And then he becomes tribhangi lalitam. Tribhanga lalitam niyata prakasham govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. And Brahma worships that bent up figure. That guy is bent out of shape. Sometimes they say that this guy is all bent out of shape. He's bent out of shape. But that is his shape. He's actually bent into shape. Krishna is bent into shape by Radharani's sweetness. The other forms of Godhead are bent out of shape. Narayan, Vishnu, Ram, they stand straight like chokidars on duty. They look like chokidars standing like sentinels. Sentinels? Sentinels at the gate. Soldiers keeping watch at the military base. Stand straight, soldier. Attention. Hold your bow. Knees straight, legs straight, hips straight, arms straight. Don't move an inch. You're at attention. You're on duty. So Vishnu's on duty. Narayan's on duty. And Ram is on duty. Stand straight, soldier. But Krishna, there's no duty for him. His only duty, his only activity, he's only planning and thinking, how can I meet Radharani in the bushes of Vrindavan? When, where, and how? This is the purpose of his existence. Kaishor Safalam, Radha Krita Karam. It's told by Rupa Goswami. Kaishor Safalam, Radha Krita Karam, Kunja Krita Karam. So the fruit of his youth, Kaishor Safalam, the full fruit of his youth is Kaishor, Krishna Kishore, is to enjoy Radharani in the kunjas, have loving intimate pastimes of Radharani in the groves of Vrindavan, in the bowers. That's it. There's no other action for him. So what duties does he have? He has any duties? Ashram duties? Duties means dharma. Does he have any ashram dharma? Does he have any varna dharma? Krishigo Rakshavanijam. Krishigo Rakshavanijam. He's a Vaishya, so he has to protect the cows. Krishigo, farming, plowing, protecting the cows. This is ashram. This is duty. This is his dharma, his duty it's called Varna Dharma, the duty of a Vaishya. Right? And what is it? And then ashram. What is his ashram? We don't know what his ashram is. And Gopal Tapani, the rishis are saying he's a brahmachari. He's in brahmachari ashram. But he's a very unusual brahmachari. Because every night he dances with other people's wives. This is called paramour love. So he's a paramour lover brahmachari. He's a nayak. Very interesting brahmachari. So he doesn't uphold any of the dharmas or duties of any ashram or any varna. This is Krishna. But when this Krishna comes before Radharani, then Angabhangi. He gets bent out of shape. He can't stand straight. So this is why Krishna is standing like that. But then they tell another reason. He's a very clever fellow. Why he stands in threefold bending form. Primarily, we can't bear the heaviness. His head goes like this, thinking of Radharani's sweetness. His arm, just trying to carry Radharani's sweetness, or trying to measure it away with his arms, and his arms become bent. And if he tries to support it with his body, or the weight of his body, or uphold that sweetness of Radharani's Radhanana Madhuram, then his legs crumple and crush under the weight, and he starts bending and toppling. But there's another reason why he stands in threefold bending form. Because Radharani is known as Gandharvika. Gandharvika means she's like a Gandharva. Actually, she never learned the art of singing or dancing from anyone. She is a self-manifested reservoir and repository of all the most perfect arts of singing and dancing. The Gandharvas and of the heavenly realm, they have simply picked up a few of the arts of dancing and singing from Radharani. They've bootlegged a few CDs of hers. They've stolen a few of her MP3s and learned some dancing and singing, home studies. But actually she didn't learn from anyone. She didn't study under anyone. So that's one meaning of Gandharvika. Sings and dances like the supreme Gandharva. But another meaning, Gandha means fragrance. Aroma, Saurabh. Saurabh means aroma, fragrance, smell. And it's told that Radharani, because earth has a quality of Gandha, has a quality of fragrance. This is the speciality of earth. Fire doesn't smell. Water doesn't smell. Air doesn't smell. It carries smell. But earth itself has fragrance and gives fragrance to other things. Flowers and plants, etc. So it's told that the origin of the like Krishna himself, it's interesting because Krishna says in Gita, Gandhasmi, he said, I am the fragrance. Krishna says in Gita, I am the fragrance of the earth. Because there, it's the Vibhuti Yoga chapter, and Krishna is explaining basically how he's the essence of everything. Anything great, anything powerful, anything wonderful, that's Krishna. So earth, the unique quality of earth is fragrance. So Krishna says, that's me. That fragrance is me. And every time we smell a beautiful flower, and we say, oh, this is Krishna. This beautiful fragrance is Krishna. But fragrance is a Shakti. Fragrance is an energy, a potency. And Radharani is the source of all potencies. Sarva Shakti Mayi. So therefore, Krishna says, I am the fragrance of the earth. But the next question is, well, where does that fragrance come from? You may be that fragrance. You may claim it to be yours, or you may be that fragrance. But where does it come from? It comes from Radharani. That's why she's called Gandharvika, because she's the origin of all fragrance. And how does the earth receive the fragrance? That Krishna says that's him. When Radharani is getting changed after rasa dancing or any pastime, when the manjaris and sakhis are changing her clothes, then she drops her petticoat. She drops her pink slip. It looks like the rising sun. Arunavastra. It's called Arunavastra. It's very pinkish red, very beautiful color. Radharani drops her petticoat on the ground. And the petticoat is very fragrant because it has a transcendental fragrance of Radharani's beautiful divine body. Like lotus flower and like camphor and like sandalwood and like kasturi. All very beautiful fragrance. So that's saturating the cloth of Radharani's petticoat. Or you say slip sometimes. So when that petticoat hits the ground, then the ground absorbs that fragrance. And this is the origin of Gandha. The earth having Gandha. So that's why Radharani is called Gandharvika. Because she is the origin of that. So now I forgot the point I was going to say. Oh yeah. So Radharani has this great fragrance. So we're asking the question: why does Krishna stand in a threefold bending form? Everywhere you see a deity of Krishna, he's standing. Because why does he always stand with his right foot crossed over his left leg? Why can't he stand with his left over his right? He's keeping his foot towards Radharani.
Gandharva koti gamaniya vishesasva Govinda Adi Purusham Tamaham Rajami Angani Asya Sakane Vyapiti Bhante Vasasanti Vigalanti Shirajavanti Ananachivadana Vyasya Govinda Adivisham Krishna Krishna Bhakti Dhira Swami. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Param Sachidanand Rupam Rasatundalam Lokudevardhama Shodabhiyo Bhagavatam Paramismadam Yugam Jandam Arambuja Yugam Satam Kage Gusashatam Bhati Brahmakanda Itagrava Damodara Vidikshani Virananda Kunde Prabhushuni Madhyam Tamakya Adishita Geshu Bhaktan Jitatam Una prematasam prasaviman. Namo Shabadimba, Nachanyam Vinam Sadhana. Idam Deva Purna Gopala Balam, Paramana Shabdasam. Yang kanilai, Vidam Kundalai Sugar Akshay Sugro. Chungitam Parapada Savirasam Alam Dhira Damodara Vishnu Dhira Damodara Bhavishtu Prashyati Dinavadhan Vinamikamamadhyam Yedakri Atmajo Vadham Chaiva Yaga Ayamukito Bhakti Bhajo Krishna Prema Bhakti Panamepriyasha Namo Shigrahome Damodare Purani Pidana Pariyodharaya Sishaya Namoradikaya Pariyapiyaya Namonantagiraya Diribaya Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Nice job. And we're going to do Dhira Damodara and Bhagavatam. See you later. You wish you a happy Ekadashi again.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Happy
Hare
Ekadashi, Gurudev.
Happy Ekadashi Day.
We'll
Hari
see you
Hari
all
Bol.
in week class and then tomorrow. Wishing you all also a very happy and blessed Ekadashi.
Happy Ekadashi, everyone. Very good.
Thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna.